A week before the show, an exclusive invitation arrived, a coveted primetime slot on a high-profile news program known for its confrontational style. The host, a veteran journalist with decades of experience and a reputation for belittling younger guests, had built his career on provocation. His method was simple: provoke, discredit, and if needed, humiliate. Karoline Leavitt had done her homework. She knew this wasn't a friendly conversation. It was a trap, set by someone who believed he could force her to fumble. Critics had long labeled her as too young or too ambitious for the role she'd earned, and the media's condescension was already echoing in hushed warnings from her team. Yet, for Karoline, it wasn't about the labels. It was about challenging the arrogance of those who believed they could control the narrative. Her media advisor had warned, "This guy doesn't do fair debates. He goes for hit jobs." But Karoline's response was steady. "I'm not here to play by their rules. I'm here to ensure the truth is heard." And with that, she accepted the invitation. On the night of the interview, the stage was a study in modern design. A glossy floor, cool LED lights, and a large glass table flanked by 2 leather chairs. The air in the studio was unnaturally cold, heightening every whispered comment and measured glance from the audience of journalists and insiders. As Karoline entered the green room, the atmosphere was palpable. A mix of expectation and thinly veiled condescension. A seasoned producer offered a curt greeting, and an assistant avoided eye contact. It was clear they expected her to crack under pressure. Yet, as she sat in the makeup chair while the stylist carefully applied powder, Karoline reviewed her notes and steeled herself. Every minute of preparation had led to this moment. The moment where she would determine not only the course of the interview, but also how her truth would be shared with millions. The stage lights burst into life as the cameras rolled. The live audience, a mixture of enthusiastic fans and skeptical critics, filled the room with anticipatory murmurs. The host, Richard Caldwell, a man known for his sharp tongue and theatrical ambushes, sat with his legs crossed, a practiced smile on his face that suggested he was ready to launch his first attack. "Karoline Leavitt," he pronounced slowly as though savoring her name. "Welcome to the show," she responded with a composed nod and a simple, "Thanks for having me." Caldwell's opening words dripped with condescension as he remarked on her rapid rise in the industry, hinting that she might be too young or too inexperienced to have earned her success. His voice carried an edge meant to unsettle her, but Karoline met his gaze without hesitation, her response measured and calm. "Experience isn't measured solely by years. It's about what you do with the opportunities you're given." A murmur of approval rippled through the studio as the host's attempt to undermine her credibility began to falter. Caldwell pressed on. "Some say you skipped the hard work, just leaped into the spotlight without paying your dues. Do you really believe you've earned your seat at this table?" The air thickened. Karoline's eyes remained steady as she leaned forward slightly, her voice quiet but firm. "I believe success is built on action, not waiting for permission. Hard work, insight, and innovation can't be measured in arbitrary years. When you focus on the impact you create, that's what truly matters." Her answer wasn't defensive. It was a clear declaration of her principles. The audience absorbed her words, and even a few skeptical glances turned into nods of approval. Not willing to let up, Caldwell shifted his focus to credibility. In today's world, social media can amplify anyone's voice, even if they lack real expertise. Tell me, should credibility only be given to those with decades of experience? How do you respond when critics say you're just another product of the digital age? Karoline's response was measured and incisive. "I believe expertise isn't confined to age or traditional credentials. True impact comes from results. When your work speaks for itself, that's what earns respect." Her tone left no doubt that her influence was based on tangible accomplishments, not on who had been around the longest. Caldwell's forced smirk faltered, and the room grew quieter, the audience hanging on her every word. Caldwell's next question was an all-too-familiar personal jab, meant to undermine her authenticity. "People say you tailor your opinions to fit a narrative, that you're more about creating headlines than discussing hard truths. How do you respond to those who doubt your integrity?" Karoline paused, letting the weight of the question settle. Then, with a calm certainty, she answered, "When I speak, I speak based on what I know to be true at that moment. If new facts emerge, I'm willing to adjust my perspective. That's not a weakness. It's intellectual honesty. And if someone can't handle that, then perhaps they're the ones with the problem." Her words resonated deeply, turning the focus back onto the tactics of those who thrive on sensationalism. Seeing that his personal attacks were not yielding the desired effect, Caldwell tried to pivot to media bias. The media claims to be objective, yet it often shapes narratives to suit its agenda. Isn't it true that your success is partly because you're seen as a rebel against that establishment? Karoline leaned back, a slight smile playing on her lips. If challenging the status quo is seen as a rebellion, then I stand by that. I don't need a government-approved narrative to tell my truth. I create work that connects with people, because real change comes from authentic voices, not from conforming to a preset script. Her measured defiance was met with a wave of applause from the audience, and even Caldwell's tone softened for a moment as he absorbed her point. With a desperate effort to regain control, Caldwell leaned in, lowering his voice as if revealing a secret. "Tell me, Karoline, if you truly believe in merit and hard work, how do you explain the fact that in this industry, success often seems predetermined by who you know rather than what you've achieved?" The studio grew still. Karoline's eyes met his directly, and with quiet authority she responded, "Success isn't about who sets the rules or who gets to decide your worth. It's about staying true to your vision, working relentlessly, and letting the results speak for themselves. If the system is rigged, then my job is to challenge it, and I will, every single day." Her words hit like a revelation, and the audience sat in stunned silence for a few seconds before erupting into applause. As the interview neared its end, the atmosphere had completely shifted. Caldwell, now visibly unsettled, attempted one last question, but his voice lacked its usual bravado. "So, do you think that without following the rules of the industry, you risk alienating your audience?" Karoline's reply was succinct and resolute. "Real connection isn't about adhering to someone else's rules. It's about authenticity. My audience listens because they know I'm not afraid to speak my truth." In that moment, the studio lights seemed to shine a little brighter, and the applause was thunderous. The trap had not only failed, it had backfired, exposing the limitations of a system built on manufactured controversy. The moment the broadcast ended, the impact was immediate. Social media exploded with clips and quotes from the interview. Headlines like "Karoline Leavitt shuts down the media trap" and "When authenticity wins," a new era in political discourse, dominated every platform. Viewers praised her for defying expectations and turning a hostile interview into a statement of empowerment. Journalists, pundits, and everyday citizens joined the conversation, challenging the old narratives and demanding a higher standard in public discourse. Back at the studio, the fallout was palpable. Caldwell's team scrambled to spin the interview as a spirited discussion, but the raw authenticity of Karoline's responses had already taken over the narrative. Conversations in boardrooms, on podcasts, and in coffee shops nationwide began to focus on the importance of integrity over theatrics. Critics and supporters alike debated whether the media should continue using aggressive tactics that turn genuine dialogue into spectacle. For many, Karoline's performance became a beacon, a reminder that truth and authenticity are the ultimate measures of success. After the storm of digital reaction subsided, Karoline took a quiet moment for herself. Away from the glare of cameras and the roar of social media, she reflected on the night's events. For her, it wasn't about winning a debate. It was about ensuring that real voices are heard amidst the noise of manufactured controversy. Her calm determination and refusal to be boxed in by others' expectations inspired not only her loyal fans but also those who had long felt marginalized by a system that valued spectacle over substance. In the days that followed, the interview became more than just a viral moment. It sparked a nationwide conversation about media bias, authenticity, and the true meaning of leadership. People began sharing their own stories of overcoming adversity and refusing to let others define their worth. As discussions unfolded on every platform, one message stood out. Real strength is measured by the courage to stand by your truth, even when the world tries to silence you. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's unwavering authenticity changed the course of the conversation? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might inspire others to stand up for their truth.